G'day, Stu here from UAV Futures, and today, well, we're going to be checking out this, I don't know, bad boy, little bad boy, big, this bad boy right here. This is the Transtech Lightning, and honestly, I'm going to flash some pictures on the screen. Just look how good this thing looks, you know. This thing is just screaming speed. When I look at it, it looks like it's going to punch an absolute hole in the sky. And it's been a long time for me since I've done just a frame review. So what we're going to be doing in this part 1 video, we're going to be sticking it on the bench, breaking it down. First I'm going to show you, what it looks like when it's all put together. And then I'll show you exactly what you get in the kit and, talk about some of my final thoughts, improvements, and things that I really do like. Anyway, I can't wait to stick this thing on the bench because I'm excited to show it to you guys, because then straight after that, I want to start building it. Seriously, look how good this thing looks. I feel like I'm in love. Anyway, enough rambling, let's stick it on the bench and get started. Alrighty, so here it is on the bench, and honestly, isn't this thing a work of art? Look how beautiful and simplistic this thing looks. I can just tell straight away by looking at it, this thing is going to absolutely rip. Now look, we will be breaking it down, having a look at all the parts, I guess, in detail. We'll pull the frame apart, but I wanted to show it to you like this, flash some pictures on the screen, because the Transtech Lightning really looks like this thing is going to be lightning. Now look, it is a 5-inch frame. It's designed to spin some 5-inch props. The arms, they do look pretty thin, so this is what you would call an ultralight, but it's definitely designed not to put heavy motors or anything like that on there. You're going to be putting some light motors on the outside. What we should do, let's stick it on the scales and see just how light this bad boy is. So look, take your bets. It's coming in at, and remember these are 5mm arms as well, so we'll put this on here. What's it coming in at? 81 grams. So look, it's not the lightest, it's not like a hyper light or something like that, but 80 grams, you really can't complain. I think this thing is going to absolutely rip around. Now there's some smart features I like in here. I really like what they've done with the carbon. It's very, very strong, and I love the way they've cut it as well, because they've actually cut the carbon the correct way, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video when we break it down. It's pretty simple, so look, you don't get too much in the kit when we have a look here. It's pretty simple, the stuff that it comes with. I love the aluminium top part on the front of the pod. I think it's a really smart way to just, to keep it light and also keep it strong, because that's what this hobby needs. We need to sort of mix some materials, so it's good to see some people starting to use aluminium. I think it's going to be really, really strong, especially in a crash. This part is going to be well protected. I'm not sure about the camera. We'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the video. On the top here, I guess it's pretty simple. I don't know if I'm a fan of the lightning symbol. It looks great, but I'm more for functionality, so I'd probably just prefer some little slits or something like that I could zip tie some things down. Of course, you've got some little zip tie holders towards the back here, a place to put your pigtail or your SMA connector, whatever you want to use. I don't know if I'm going to be actually using an SMA connector, to be honest. We might just do some direct soldering and try and keep this thing super light. Some features of the base plate, so you can see here, there is some hollow cutouts right here. The arms don't interlock, so I was expecting them to, but I'm gotta say, it feels really, really sturdy, and that's because of the cut of the carbon. On the back, some strain relief. This is really, really important, so when we've got our XT60 leads coming out the back, you can zip tie them down. They're not going to rip out and pull the pads off your board. Now, one little feature I do want to mention, we've got them secured in here, so this is actually your little part that the bolt screws into, and it's much thicker than it goes down. It's not like your normal hardware whatsoever. It's just not one single bolt that goes through. There's almost like a colander that comes up that the bolt goes into, so a really clever way of securing the arms down, and as well making it really, really strong. Now, you don't have too much motor protection on the outside, so I don't think this thing is designed to fly around concrete or anything like that. This is purely going to be a flags and field racer, and man, oh man, I'm so excited already just to take this thing out and rip it. I can't wait to build this because it's going to be an absolute monster. Now, you've got your little mounting parts on the outside, so you can put your HS1177 or something like that in. I actually don't think that this is going to be designed for a full-size camera. I think this is much more suited to the micro, trying to keep that weight down, because that's what these builds are all about, building something super light to find out just how fast it can go. Anyway, that's a bit of an overview of the quad. What we should do very briefly, we'll break it down. I'll show you exactly what comes in the kit, and we'll have a look at the individual components themselves. So let's check that out in 3, 2, 1. Now, I found this part a little bit funny. Check this out. This is the box it comes in. It's huge. And that's how big your packet is. You could literally squeeze that down to the size of the logo. I have absolutely no idea. Whoever designed this probably thought this was meant to, I don't even know. What were they thinking? Was this going to be a unibody piece? That box way too big. Anyway, let's have an actual look at the frame parts. Alrighty, so here's all the parts laid out. We're going to throw these bits to the side. So you get 2 Velcro straps, but that's pretty boring. Here's all the standoffs, la-di-da-di-da, nothing too exciting there. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's have a bit of a look at the frame. So really, it's pretty simple, it's pretty basic, and it's going to absolutely cut through the air on just how thin these arms are. So we've got our 4 arms over here, we've got our base plate, our brace plate, and we've also got our tiny little top plate, which is pretty interesting. We're going to put this as a little battery sticky pad. We're going to put that to the side as well because that's just a piece of rubber. You guys don't need to see that. And then we've got our little FPV camera mounting options right here. And then these are the 2 little parts which make this frame, in my opinion, look awesome and also super light and super functional. That's I guess your top little canopy right there. Now, because we've already had a bit of an overview, I guess, of the frame already, thanks to the magic of editing, what we're going to do, I'm just going to quickly measure some of these parts for us straight off the bat. So the arms coming in at 5mm, and I should mention too, this carbon feels beautiful. That sounds weird. I've felt a lot of carbon in my days. This carbon feels fantastic, and I know you guys can't really tell you know, oh, look how strong this is or anything like that, but trust me, this carbon feels fantastic. And traditionally, I don't like these sort of skinny arms very much whatsoever, but I actually have a little bit of faith that this quad is going to rip around. So 5mm, it feels really, really tough, and if you look at the cut of the carbon as well, you can see they've cut it the right way, so it's definitely as strong as it's going to be. It's not on an angle or anything like that. The carbon layers are the right way and the fibers are going the right way. So these arms are going to be very, very tough. It would be nice if you got a spare, actually. I wish they would include a spare, but what can we do? This is what we're going to be working with now. So we're going to put those to the side, and then you can see right here, we've got our base plate. That's coming in at, let me check this out, 2mm right there. Our brace plate, where we brace our arms against it, that's 2mm as well. Our top plate, I think this is going to be a little bit thinner, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so that's 1.5mm. Our FPV plates, they're probably 1.5mm. Oh, look at that. On the money, 1.5mm as well. And then we've simply got our bits of aluminium around the outside. They are 5mm thick, or 4.8mm thick. So what I might do now, because we've already seen what it looks like built anyway, one thing I am interested in, how long is it going to take to build this frame? So I'm going to put it together and then we'll wrap it up and I'll give you some of my final thoughts on what I think about the Lightning from Transtech. Alrighty, so that took about 10 minutes to build, give or take 1 minute, because I did have to fluff around and find an FPV camera for you guys because I wanted to show you this. This is the Runcam Owl, and look, this has one of the biggest lenses I could find to put on here, and this quad, the Transtech Lightning, comes so close to offering some good camera protection. So around here, it's just sticking out just too much. You should be able to run something across the front and not have any worries whatsoever. So if you're using a bigger lens like this, you might, you know, smash it if you hit into the ground. I have seen a lot of other quads with a lot worse camera protection, so something like this comes to mind, or you know, the GT2 or something like that. But I don't think this quad is designed to take a full-size FPV camera. In my opinion, this is where you're going to be sticking something like the Runcam Swift Micro 2 or something really, really small, because this is all about flat out insanity, super light builds, and I think this thing is going to be an absolute rocket if we build it up with the right light components. Alrighty, so there it is. Overall, look, I'm a massive fan. I can't wait to build like a hyper light quad because I know a lot of people have been asking about it and talking about it. I'm going to build this one up even lighter, switch this camera out, put something really, really powerful in here. We'll take it out, rip it around. But overall, I think it's a good step in the right direction. I did have some concerns over how strong it's going to be, but after getting the frame in my hand, this thing it's making me a bit of a convert. I really like how they've cut the carbon, and I think they're doing a lot of things right. Of course, you're going to need to be careful with your build. You don't have very much room whatsoever, so is this for a beginner? Probably not, because look, you really don't get very much space whatsoever. But if you've got the skills to pay the bills, I think you can build an absolute weapon. So there it is. There's my part 1 review of the Transtech Lightning, and for a Hyperlight, the one part that has really impressed me, you know, once it's together like this, it's just how stiff it is. I know I can't get across that in the video. Oh, it's super hard to bend and those sorts of things. But trust me, I love the way the carbon's cut. I love the way it looks, and it feels so rigid. So I actually have some hope that this thing might not break on first crashes. You know, these toothpick arms, as I've heard people call them in some of the other builds, you know, and some people have their doubts, but they actually feel really, really rigid. So I can't wait to put some good components on here, build something ultra light, and absolutely punch a hole in the sky. we'll put it up against something like the Norris, because this thing, you know, it's sort of getting towards that ultralight stage, and this thing is even lighter. So I can't wait to build it up. I'm going to stop rambling because I'm literally going to go and start building it right after I finish this bit. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'll link it down below. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Drop some comments. What components do you think I should be putting on here? Because I can't wait. Anyway, other than that, happy flying. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAV Futures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.